Welcome back to the visual development portion, visual development and world building. So far, we've gone through building a robot world. So you have the visual development document that's been handed out, and inside the visual development document, we have robots. I've added mechs to the list. You have all your links to your resources, asset lists, architectural examples, books, anatomy, Photoshop brushes, really great Photoshop brushes, I might add. Tri-dimensional sheets, doing some basic writing, having a model checklist for what you're doing. Suggested one very specific video, concept design speed painting. A reminder of your language to use for visual development, the elements and principles of design, especially for art, understanding the pre-production process and the newer production processes as presented in ZBrush summits for developing in tandem both 2D and 3D together all the way through the very end of the pipeline. The new tools are so powerful. And two-dimensional steps for visual development we haven't gotten to yet, but there's in some other videos, but I'll redo some fresh ones for robots. And then we did our complete research. We added the Iron Giant, and we also had Machinarium, and for both level design, for visual development, for character development, for story. And then we talked about pillars of design. So coming up with your pillars of design, here's a template for you. And a little example we had from student project called Built, which is a post-apocalyptic, dystopian, retro-futuristic world where there's no humans left. And we have the other pillar here retrofitted and upcycled. So we're going to continue to populate that. We have a complete asset list of the anatomy of architecture we're working on now, as well as extended architectural parts, the ornamentation of architecture, large space, site plan designs, courts, gardens, pavilions, and plazas. And I'll have the measurements added to that as well. And since I had mechs on there, I love doing mechs and kaiju, I had to go in here and look at armored core. So I'm going to be adding a full research process on armored core for the different parts, just like we have with the robots, the arms, legs, bodies, torso, specific types of weapons, and a visual style getting into lighting and color and texture mapping, and some graphic design on the layouts and blueprints that go along with finished illustrations, along with kind of design and how they laid out their art book. So this is a really great resource to have. And so let's get into the basics here for moving onward from the current robots. So we did like really quick speed models of them. So, some not, I'm not so happy with. They're successful, just using literally just squishing a sphere and some cylinders in for that one. And then I spent a little more time on that one. Maybe this one maybe took 15 minutes. This one took about 25 minutes. And then the most recent video, if you watch this, what I do, a bit more detailed robot. This one took me about 90 minutes real time with no speed up, and then another 90 minutes to effectively UV unwrap this character. So this one's still not packed. I was going to go through UDMs and some of the texturing process. But before I do that, having this done gives you a lot of power now. I can take this fairly detailed robot and with the cogs and some a little bit better designed swivels and material IDs, and I can kit bash them and break them up into parts. But for the next stage of this, what I want to do is make a small environment. So we want basic model parts. We want a library model kits. So this whole model here was built out of just this set of parts here. Very few parts, just some cylinders, some spheres. I didn't even get to use the cones, and some cogs, and then I just extruded, scaled, rotated the pieces around, and did some beveling, and that was it. We also looked at the hat, maybe having some wearable gear for the character, so things that could be used as pickups, or the costumes that you can be swapped out for different scenes if you're doing a story. So that part, the model kit part's done for a robot, for a bipedal, more humanoid type robot that we're just going to do auto rigging with Mixamo, which is also in the video. But now what we want to focus on is doing a basic interior block-in. So we want to have the walls, floors, which we'll take the floor and flip it up for as a ceiling. Let me go ahead and throw the grid back on. And It's really strange. The pivot's way over there. Then we'll go to the doors and the windows, and then we'll do a table and chairs as a basic furniture and a light source. So just a little tiny scene to work this out. So what I've done for this portion is I went to grid options and I just manipulated. I made them a little bit bigger so I have room to move stuff around. I went and named everything on layers. So I have a furniture layer, I have interior parts layer, I have robot parts layer. Bring that over so you can see. And I have a human reference, of course, that I'm constantly using. And we're going to break this into some parts using, you can use basic measurements to block in your interior. And these shouldn't really change. They're pretty universal. You know, human beings aren't going to change dramatically in size. So these are going to be something that you can keep with you as basic parts throughout your career, just like you can with these robot parts, you know. A swivel's a swivel, a cog is a cog, you know, a sphere is a sphere, a cylinder is a cylinder. You know, if you're doing the eyes, once you get this part, of course, I can extend it and add it and combine it with these parts. But we'll get into that. Maybe, you know, he needs cog wheel goggles. Of course, that would be cool or whatnot. And we'll also look at using these parts to then change the interior from just real basic cubes into something more stylized as we do the visual development portion. So we'll get into that a bit later. Down here, we had the basic quick UV unwraps. This literally just took me 5 minutes to do because I kept it simple with the basic standard primitive parts. However, doing the UV snapshot and then painting the texture in Photoshop with some brushes is a bit more involved. So we'll get to that recording, but then dropping it quickly into Unreal Engine and just using the most basic maps, the metallic or metalness, roughness, the albedo or color, and then just plugging in some different material IDs for the luminescence or the glow maps on there. So we'll get to that portion as well. So let's get straight into the building of this. So again, my grid options are set to 1000 now. So they were down, I think around like 400 or so. So this is what it looked like before. And I think I had the grid lines every 50 and 10. So here's what it looked like before with the as a larger piece in there. But what I've done now is extended it so I can move stuff around and build a scene. And so that's why the new measurements, remember you just adjust, these are all in centimeters. So we just continually, there we go, change this as our needs and keep it within these simple ratios. And this is a color palette that I've chosen. Okay, so let's do it. So first thing we do to get this done, let me go ahead and hide some of the stuff, interior parts and furniture. We'll try and work cleanly here outside of any groups. There we go. So I have all the parts in the robots and I have the walls and the basins, so I can maybe group these in group. We'll go interior. And then for the doors, I'll group that and we'll say furniture. Or actually the doors should stay with the interior as well. We'll grab these doors and middle mouse drag them into the interior. And then with this group here, we'll call this furniture. So I have furniture and interior as a group. I also have furniture and interior as layers. So channel layers that are color coded as well. So it makes it really easy to track everything. If you do this up front, it makes your life so much easier. If you wait and do it later, doing the cleanup after you've built 100 pieces, that can be some tedium. So it's up to you, however you want to work. But for this one, I have autosave turned off because I got tired of the student version message coming up every few minutes. Is really annoying. It was actually creating a lot of problems. So I just hit Control S and save constantly as I'm working here, which can be problematic. If I make a big error, you know, I have to build stuff over again. So anyway, go to Create Polygon Primitives and turn on Interactive Creation. And so once we do Interactive Creation, then I can go to the 4 viewport mode. And let's do a wall unit piece. So for the wall unit piece, I'm going to make it, whoops, caps lock's on. Go to cube, and I want to start off at the pivot here and drag it across. And I forgot to, let's just delete that. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the grid snap and leave it on. So I've been hitting the X key constantly throughout my other videos with the organic modeling. But for this, I want to teach you good modular best practices. So AI modeling is really going to be dependent on you feeding it good training data and models that fit within certain ratios. So walls, floors, windows, when you're making them, your model kits, they should stay within a ratio. So for this one, I'm going to go up, and you can see right there that I did a 400 centimeter wide, 300 centimeter high, and 10 centimeters deep. That's what I'm going to use for this first wall piece. Now, after I build that wall piece, to keep this as the P cube information inside the attribute editor, I'm going to go ahead and take this and back it off. If I grab the constrained arrow, it's going to move and snap only on that axis. When I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and name this wall, and we'll call this 4 by 3 by 0.10 units. And I'm just writing it out very clearly for you guys so you can see what these units are. Once I've done that, I'm going to hold down the shift key, and I'm just going to drag a copy of that out. And what I want you to be really aware of for this is where the pivot goes. So if I have this on the front part, this is going to be the inside of the wall, this will be the outside of the wall. For the pivot, what I'm going to do here is, I'll just turn that off for a moment. I'm going to go D and then V. I'm going to snap the pivot to the outside corner, or you could call it inside corner, whichever. Now, as I'm rotating, if I hold down J, it will snap in even radial increments. So for basic architectural unitization, to have a core kit that can be fed into AI data and be manipulated and turned into whatever style you want, these core principles for modular design are from a Lee Perry article that Epic wrote years ago. So if I want to replicate this, as I make sure it has number 2, if I hold down Shift, and then as I rotate, I hold down the J key, it's now going to snap in even increments on the rotation. And you'll see they align perfectly to each other on the grid right here. And that's one of the core principles of this. So that's your wall unit. For the floor unit, we want one a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do the floor and the ceiling in a very similar manner. So I'm just going to, again, hold down Shift and drag, so that automatically makes a copy. And instead of a wall, I'm going to call this one floor. And instead of a 4 by 3 unit, I'm going to do a 4 by 4 unit and leave it at 10. And then that'll be 01. Enter. Now, as I come over here and finish this off, now I can hold down J, and it will snap to the grid, and it should be aligned perfectly flat. And just double check it in the 4 viewport, and just hit F on the keyboard, F, F, and F as you hover the mouse over. You don't have to actually click on the menu or anything like that. Now, in order for this to be a 4 unit, we need to pull this face forward. So if I go to face, grab this one, let's turn that grid snap back on and go to the move tool. And as long as I grab the handle, it should constrain to that axis. It should snap and pull it straight out. So now I have a 4 by 4. That's 400 centimeter by 400 centimeter, or 4 meter by 4 meter floor. So if I grab the object again, you see the pivot still in the same location. Now what I can do is I can go to rotate, or actually let's just bring it up. We go to the side view here, and this is going to be the ceiling, and I'm going to shift drag yet again, and as I shift drag, it goes off the snap, but then it snaps once more. There we go. And instead of the ceiling having the snap on the upper portion, we want the ceiling to snap down here. So I'm just going to hold down D again and bring it down 1. So that way I have the ceiling. So let's rename this one. Instead of I misspelled floor earlier. No problem. Can't spell today. Ceiling. 4:4 ratio by 10 by 1. And just correct my spelling a little bit as I go. And that should work pretty well. So these pieces here are at 0, 0 coordinates. So that pivot's there, that pivot's there, that pivot's there. None of the pivots have changed for these 3 pieces. So let's go ahead and get rid of, if I go to the channel layer, you can see I have some moves and some translations and rotations on these, but the scale's all 1. So I'm going to freeze those and delete the history. So that should be my basic. Actually, we don't need that wall there. So this floor, this ceiling, this floor, this wall, and then the ceiling is up and then translate it over. So what I'm going to do for right now is I'm going to drag it down back to 0, 0, 0 world space, just like that, and then freeze it, delete its history as well, and then I can just snap and bring that back up, and it should snap right into place to the top of the wall. Now, if you want to pipe shove this and pass it through down a unit or two, 1, 2, that's okay because only this part would be Z-fied. That's where the two faces, the faces of the wall and the faces of the ceiling intersect and share space right here. But you'll never see that, so that's okay. So that's what I'm doing for that for now. And I could do the same thing with the floor. However, I like to keep the floor's face right at 0, 0, 0 world space, so that way I don't have any problems with walking across the surface for animation or foot toe placement, things like that. So that is how to make a wall, floor, and a ceiling. I usually will put the ceiling on its own layer, so because you're constantly looking down ceilings, and let's give it oh no, dark gray. There we go. So that way we can hide the ceiling and bring it back in while we're working on the rest of it. All right, let's do a door next. So go turn furniture on for just a moment. You can see what I did earlier with the door. And the door I have centered in the middle because it's not quite a door. What just happened? Where did my door go? Oh, that's really strange. Yeah, so before I make the door, let me go to the interior here. Door, I actually make the door frame first. Same thing with the window. So for the window and door, make the frame of it first, and then make the part that's going to be inside the frame that's going to move. And we'll then cut away against the wall using that piece. So I pull the door out, and we can see over here with the basic door, the inputs on this one for the attribute editor is a polycube that is 100 wide, 100 centimeters, 200 centimeters high, and 10 centimeters deep. We can make it a little bit deeper so that the door frame protrudes through the wall a little bit, but that's okay. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So in order to make the door to those dimensions, we'll just go again. I have create polygon primitive and interactive creation turned on. So this is from my old days of doing architectural 3D modeling in 3D Studio Max. This is my preferred tool. So I'll go over here and I can grab on each side of the grid and go across that center line. So I'm going to click and drag across so that it's equal on each side all the way over. Let go and then pull up. And as it goes up, I don't see a readout in my Max and Modo and other apps have a readout as you go. So it's kind of annoying. I should have had it in for viewport mode as I was going, and I could have seen if I was at the right spot or not. So no problem. So I'll just go to the face, grab the face, and then make sure I'm in the side view here or front view, and then just pull it up one more unit. And as long as I grab the arrow, it should constrain to that axis. No problem. The other thing to do with the door frame is to move the pivot down. So I'm going to go D and then X. Whoops. Undo that. Looks like I have the pivot already. No, I don't have it highlighted. I'll just hold down D. And I wonder, as I hold D down, there we go. You want it right in the middle, right there. So that way it goes through, it will go through both sides of the wall for you and push out from that center line. The next thing I want to do with the door frame, we're also going to kitbash this and make the window frame. So I'm going to grab the edge here, double click all the way around, go to your modeling toolkit, and we'll start using the shift right click because that's kind of the place we're going at this, the pace we're moving at. Definitely start using that shortcut, although now what happened? Yeah, I'll have to get used to using that again because it's been a while, but I'll just use it connect so I know it goes centered and hit enter. There we go. Okay, so now I know that I have a center line of the door frame to work with, and once I get that done, that's my P cube, so I'll call this door frame underscore 01. And if you want to do the measurements on it, you can. So you can see what I had over here. And you can see what I had on the readout for this one over here as well in the attribute editor. It's 100, 210. So we just do the width, height, and depth. So I could do a 1 by 2 by dot 10. So let's go ahead and name that door frame 1 by 2 by dot 10 underscore. Oh, I didn't like that at all, did it? What just happened? It's like my keyboard stopped working. Gotta be careful using a wireless keyboard. My wireless keyboard just started dying at the wrong time. For sure. There we go. Underscore 01. There we go. So again, this is for your benefit. You don't have to do this, but I don't see why you wouldn't if you're just learning this. So it's really clean and helpful way, because you're gonna you could reuse these infinitely. You're gonna get a lot of use out of these basic parts. You need to build a room quickly. These parts aren't going to change much in the basic scheme of things. Okay, so there's my door frame. So now I'm just going to shift drag it over, keep it on the pivot line as much as I can. And now we'll go to the face tool, grab these two faces and shift right click, and we can go to extrude faces. And we'll scale them. Got to activate scale first, that's right. And then scale it on these axes. Let's see, is that, did I grab something on the bottom on accident? Oh, yes I did. I didn't think I did. Okay. So you just want the front and the back. You don't want the bottom ones yet, right? And so shift right click and extrude faces. That should be okay. We could also bevel the edges. So there's so many ways you could do this. So let's just do the scale tool on this one. No. All right. Extrude. And activate scale first, right? There we go. And it's not perfectly equidistant. That's okay for now. We'll show you how to do that later, but not important for the moment. Okay, that's good. If we have the two faces, let's see if we want to delete those. Grab the faces from the bottom and delete those as well. And then go to the front view, grab the vertices on the diagonal on the bottom, go to move, and just snap those back down. So the bottom of the door frame is flat on the ground. So the next move would be to grab the edges and these two edges here, and we want to bridge them together. There's bridge right there. So that one worked pretty good. And then if we grab the next two, one, Control Shift 2, G, we'll redo the last, and then I've tried over the years doing multiples at once, and it's just kind of hit or miss, like if it's going to cooperate or not. Let's bring that center edge loop line back in here as well. So we'll go edge, double click, should go all the way around all of them, and then yeah, it did. Just making sure. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and then hit connect one time, enter. Now we can grab the edges, grab 1, 2, 3, 4, and hit bridge again. Then come over here to do the same thing on the other side and bridge again. So we've just closed off a door frame here, and in the door frame center point, we can change the width of it, and we can change where it pivots at and all that good stuff. So for now, let's leave the pivot for the outside corner just for now. There we go. And then if we want to center that up, we can isolate the model. Get out of X-ray mode for a minute. And let's slide it over to the center of the world. Make sure it's aligned correctly. Looks like it is indeed. Freeze, delete history. And there is your door frame. So if we want to have the door jambs come out on either side of it, before I do that, I'm going to go out of isolation mode. And remember, you're building your kit library, so every time you get a piece that took a bit of doing to make, what do? We bring it over into our parts library and say, okay, there's a real basic door frame. So let's make a copy of that. So I'll just shift drag, clone of that, and then hold down X afterwards and bring it back over center of the world. There we go. And go to face mode. So let's grab this front. Face is right here, and then back over here on each side. And what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to pull these out with the extrude button. So we'll pull them out just a little bit like that. And then afterwards, let's go to the scale tool and just scale them down just a little bit. And looks like that could be problematic, so we'll just leave that for right now. And go back, we'll grab the edge. And this profiling here, you don't have to do. I'm just kind of showing you if you want a little bit of the milling. These are little strips that go around the edge of your windows and doors. Sometimes you could check your furniture. And we'll do a bevel on that. And then the bevel, the segments of the depth, you could actually go in here and make it have different segments. And I don't know why that's not working. There it goes. So you can round it off that. And then on the depth, you can actually push it in like that. So I'll show you that one. So you could curve it out or push it in. And how many segments you need is based on how round you really want it to be. And there's mitering, so there's some other stuff in there. But that, I think, is going to be kind of an interesting little design for that. Okay, let's hit Q on the keyboard, back to selecting, and yep, everything's looking okay. Looks like I might have accidentally grabbed a face over here on this side. What did I do? Don't know. Okay, well, there's a couple things we can do here. We can use the symmetry tool, so I'll just drag this over on the top. Making sure it's at the halfway mark in between. There we go, just like that. And we'll go to the mesh tool and we'll use the mirror across X. And double check, it should fix it. Let's see if that, yeah, so now the good side has been mirrored over to the other side, and you have an edge lip cut in the middle, which is totally fine. We're not doing super low poly yet, and it can end the tool by hitting the Q button. Okay, go out of isolation mode and just remember where our pivots are. So for this guy right here, the pivot was on this corner right here, so just go D and V again, bring it over there, and isolate. And so there's a door frame. Now I want to fill it with just a regular old door. And the way we've designed it so far, we shouldn't have too much trouble getting something in there. So we'll go to the grid points, and instead of subdivisions of 20, we'll go subdivisions of 40. And hit apply. And there we go. So that gives us one extra bit of grid right here to make a door, the door frame. And usually there's a jam on the inside or the outside, so you can kind of decide what you want to do for that. I'm going to just make a cube for this though. So make sure I'm in 4 viewport mode this time. So indeed, I have one extra grid snap over there to make the door work. So let's go to the cube tool, and I'm going to start off here on the inside right here, and just, I think maybe I'm in isolation mode. I am, yeah. So it happens a lot. Oopsie. Grab that. Maybe turn auto grid snap back on, so I don't have to worry about accidentally needing to turn that on and off. So I'm looking at the front viewport as well from here. Go to the cube tool and just click and drag across and then pull up, and I'm watching here in the side view, and of course I don't see it. That's really odd. Oh, because I'm in the wrong spot. I was looking at the wrong door frame. So no problem, just go after the fact. Just go to face mode, grab the face, and go to the front view and just snap that up until it comfortably comes up to the top of the door frame. So for stuff like this, you just don't want it to be passing through the piece, right? You want like a little tiny gap there, if anything. So I'll just turn off the gap for a moment and go to side view here, and I'm just going to bring it down so that it's just inside the frame, just like that. That should be okay. And then we can go D, and if we want the door to swing inward or outward, you decide where you want the pivot. So D and V, so go here and zoom in. Oops, I was in component mode still. There we go. And so now if I rotate this and I hold J, you'll see it rotates from the inside the hinge. So that would not rotate outward. So this would be an inward swinging door if the pivot's there. If I wanted it to swing from the other direction, I would go to the outside of the door and hold down D and V, drag it to the other pivot, and then from there, then we can have it an outside swinging door. So that's really your call, how you want to do that. It's all snapped to the grid, nice and even, except for the very top. I kind of went off grid a tiny bit with my bubble. It's all right. Isolate that. Isolate that door for a moment. And if we want that to be centered to the world, go to move and just hold down X, bring it over, make sure we have door. And then you could do underscore inward door, right? Underscore, and we could do a 2 by 1 by dot 10 ratio. So we just kind of remember what your ratios are on there. Okay, oh yeah, freeze, delete history. There we go. So this will go inside of our furniture. So just slide that into the furniture, get out of isolation mode, go to our door frame, and middle mouse drag that into furniture. Grab both of these pieces and let's get them aligned to each other for a moment. We're going to parent the door to the frame, so that way if we move one that's grouped, it'll move with the other. So that way, hold down X and bring it back over. There we go. That should work pretty well. And make sure that there's a little tiny gap all the way around. It's, looks good. Okay, so the door frame, and there's the door. I'm going to middle mouse drag the door into the door frame. So if I grab the door frame and I move it, it's going to move both of them together. So we would do the window the same way. So grab that. We still need to cut a piece into our wall, so we'll take care of that as well. So we have a wall unit here. I have the door over here, so I'm just going to drag that over to the middle. There we go. And grab the wall. I'm going to duplicate the wall. And I'm going to go door, and then wall, and then name it doorway. So that way I know it has a doorway cut into it. Right, so let's see. Turn that back on again. Yep, we got the right one. Cool. Make sure it's passing through. And make sure it's on the grid just right. There we go. Okay, pretty easy peasy with this one. We're just gonna take the bottom. Let's grab the wall and what we need for right now. Let's grab the wall and the doors, and let's isolate those in both the front and the perspective viewport. Okay, grab the wall, grab that bottom face right here, and we're just going to drag it up to the top of the door frame. And since we have the grid snaps on a little higher, we got to be just a tiny bit more careful. There we go. Okay, that'll work. We then go into the edge mode, grab the edges, and connect, middle mouse drag so we get 2 connections, hit enter. Grab those vertices, and we're going to snap them to one side of the door, and grab the other 2 vertices and snap them to the other side of the door, just like so. And then go underneath it, grab the face, 1 face, and then 2 face, zoom back so we could see the bottom, so we could reach the bottom here. We're going to extrude, and then switch over to the move tool and extrude those down to the ground. And that's how you do a basic door. That's one way to do a basic door cut. I mean, there's a ton of ways that you can do this. You can see the door frame sits through there very nicely. So this is what I'm looking for. The skill in here is having the modular pieces go across 3 meter by 4 meter units. You could do even 3 by 3 or 2 by 2 or 2 by 4, whatever. You just need to have some good discipline on this. And even I think if we turn the grid off, it's still snapping to the grid. And for a lot of the stuff, when we go to the grid snap, grid options, we can reduce this back down to where it was, to 20. And that should work for a lot of the stuff. I just turned it up 1 when I was doing the inset. Let's grab the next one. Let's grab this door, duplicate it, drag it out over here, and going to rotate it, holding down J, and rotate it in 90 degrees, and bring it over to the corner. Now, same thing here. We can bring that so it overlaps here so that they touch each other and over the top of the floor. Or I could leave it out and to the corner over here. And it's still even on one side. So how you even these up, you'll find that if you follow this process from Lee Perry, it works like a charm. So let's do a window though, cut inside of this one. So for the window cut, let's name it first. So we'll call this one units, and that one center will go windowed. Or just window's fine. And then name that one. And we'll grab the 2 faces on here. So these 2 faces here, we'll extrude, we'll scale, we'll bring them in to a size that makes sense. We're going to resize these based on the grid. So we can go to the side view for this one, I believe. There we go. And we can go to X-ray mode. There we go. And then just go to the vertices, and we'll snap them here, grab these, snap them there. There we go, and over to the side. And in 3ds Max and Modo, you can grab 2 faces and bridge them together, which causes them to connect and then leave faces around behind, but I don't think Maya worked. It worked. So I bridge snapped those 2 faces, and they bridged together, which made them disappear, and they left behind edges around. That was really useful. Okay, so now for the window itself, another way to make this is to make a plane. So I'm just going to make a plane with my grid snap turned on. So I'm going to make a plane that goes right across the middle, just like that. And we can see where that's at. Here it's going to be over off to the side. And then snap that back over across here. So in the most basic sense of the window, you can have just the pane here like that, right? Right in dead center. However, the will need framing most likely, right? So let's go ahead and give the window a frame. So go to where it's even on one side or the other of the wall. Since it is a plane, it has a one side is the face, the other side is the back side, right? So you want to make sure we're working on the right side here. And we'll go extrude, switch to the move tool, and we're going to pull that extrusion out and it snaps. So we just made a cube basically, so we can show you what that looks like. So we just extruded from the plane to make a cube. Very straightforward, very simple. Okay, so now we can go into the faces here. We can grab the faces and we can extrude and scale them together. Go back to the front viewport here, and you can see you have your measurements. I should have done this with the door frame, but I was being lazy. So that was kind of my bad. And that tool is all wonky. I gotta make sure that's reset to world. There we go. And we'll go here. And so one set of units on each side. That should make it nice and even all the way around. And I could go back and fix the door and door frame to be that way as well. There we go. And then if we want to have two panes, one on each side or whatnot, so we can go ahead and do that as well. So grab those two edges here. Let's isolate this for just a moment and make sure that we're not going to get anything screwy in there. Okay, edge, grab these two edges and connect with two. We'll leave that, enter, and then go this way and connect, enter. Enter's not working. Okay, just take connect. Whoa, what the hell just happened? Oh, it's leaving behind vertices. Okay, so it was connecting, but I didn't see anything. So I wonder why. Go to vertex mode, see if there's any floating vertices around. I don't see any. Okay, connect one time. And it's leaving behind these vertices. It's just bizarre. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the hell? Okay, so I think maybe a good time to do a freeze and delete history on this thing. So we'll go grab these edges and go right around the middle. Actually, let's see, this should work okay. Let me go ahead and just drop this again to the outside. So turn off the snap. Maybe the snaps are messing it up too. So D and V. So drag that pivot down to the corner. And let's make sure it's facing the right direction. So go to rotate, hold down J, snap it 90 degrees. And then go to move and let's snap it down on the ground. There we go. And freeze, delete history. And since I'm using the grid, I should be able to place this right back where I want it. So grab these two edges here and just do one, enter. I don't know why it wasn't doing it before. Two, enter, scale flat, and go the other way, connect, enter, and then do one more, connect, and enter, and scale flat. Great. Okay, we'll go look at it from the front view this time, since we're working in front view, and turn on and off the isolation mode. So grab these edges, double click, and we'll bring them down. One, double click, and hold down connect. There we go. And then the next one here, we need to subdivide the grid one time so that we can get this centered. Otherwise, it's going to be off because this is the middle edge loop on there. And we can double check that here by, instead of every 100, we go every 50. Apply. See, that's our center line right there. So we'll just double click that and snap and bring it up one, double click and bring it up one. And see, that's the same width right there. That should work. And bring it over one and double click and bring it over one off the center line. So now all of these are, now if you want them thinner or thicker, maybe that would be better. So instead of 20, we can go back to 40 again, apply, and make these slats a little bit thinner. I'm just going to turn on grid snap so I don't have to constantly release and press the key. So the middle slats here most likely would be thinner than the framing slats of the window frame. So just something to keep in mind. There we go. But I just want you to make the simplest one humanly possible first, and then if you want to go make something fancier later, cool. Just understand the steps, understand the process first, then do something more complex. That's the key, really, to the whole class, is to just follow the steps. Okay, so there's our window. So that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and make a copy of that. Let's see if I can get the rest of this off axis just a little bit. So we'll drop it from 40 down to 10, apply, and we'll bring the floor over a little bit like that, and bring the wall over a little bit, and bring the door frame over a little bit. There we go. That gives me a little bit of space to work here. There we go. Should be fine. Okay, there's a window, and make sure that everything is, I'm just leaving my grid snap since I'm kind of altering it as I go. Make sure that we have window underscore 2pane underscore 01. There we go. And then let's call this one base. And then bring it over out of the way so we have that to come back to, and then duplicate that. So we can make a door, we can make a bunch of stuff out of that because it has the panes. And actually that is, I said that wrong, that's actually a 4-pane window. So switch that one to 4-pane. There we go. And snap's still on. I'm at the 0, 0, 0 world space coordinate. I can go check the channel box layer. It's pretty clean. Previously history, neurotic. Okay, let's give it some actual glass panes. So we'll go to these pieces. Let's go ahead and isolate it again. So we'll grab using the select tool so I don't accidentally move anything, grab all, there we go. Grab all 4 on each side, so we have 8 total selected. Looking good. So for the window pane, it's good to have it as a solid cube for refraction, for the light passing through it to make it like real glass. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to extrude this, switch to the move tool, and let's subdivide this back where it was. It was at 40. Hit apply, and it gives us a little bit of wiggle room inside of there. And let's bridge those together. One set at a time. There we go. There's one. Looks like it might have gotten off. Looks like I missed an edge over there. It's okay. We'll fix it. Grab these two. Bridge. Grab these two on each side. Bridge. Grab these two and bridge. There we go. And yeah, it looks like I missed that on both sides. So we'll just go to the edge and snap that over. See, it's so simple that it can be deceiving how simple it actually is. So once you make a couple of these, this is kind of monkey work. You don't want to do that again, right? It's like grabbing and popping over for some reason. I wonder, I should look at this in perspective. I'm gonna have to redo this thing. Yeah, I have a, darn. Control backspace, I did a extrusion and did not pull it out. So my mistake for sure on that one. We'll see if, how we can fix this. Okay, so let's see if it works now with the other one. So grab that and move down. Yeah, so there's one left over here as well. So just double click that, control backspace. There we go. So Probably the biggest error we all make 3D modeling is extruding and not pulling a face out on accident. So I didn't undo. It's you gotta be really militant about how many times you hit the undo button again before. If you did an extrusion that you change your mind on, this is what just happened to me. It happens all the time. So just be aware that that can really mess you up. Okay, so there's a door. There's a window frame. Okay. So let's make a cube, just a glass pane to sit inside of it. So we'll go out of the isolation mode, close that, and make a cube. And let's do one. Quick drag across. Can't see what I did in there too, because I didn't, again, use my 4 viewport mode wisely. There we go. So I made a cube in there that's flat on the ground. So we go into X-ray mode and grab the glass pane and the frame both together, and we'll isolate that and go out of X-ray mode. Go to the front viewport and go out of isolate mode. Make sure we have these two selected, and then re-isolate once more. Okay, grabbing just the window frame, right? So for that one, we can go to X-ray mode here, and we can see that we have two vertices down here. So let's make it perfectly even with the frame there. Go to the top. Looks like I did stop on the right spot, and then in here it has to come in one more. There we go. So we have this cube that sees it even on each side. Go look at it from the top down. Hit F on the keyboard. For viewport, make sure you have the two objects selected that you need. And then let's go to X-ray mode, and there we go. And we can see right here that it is offset ever so slightly. So let's go back to 4 viewport mode here for just a moment. And architecture, it's really important that you get comfortable using 4 viewport mode. I really want to stress that. Yeah, we'll grab the face here, grab this face. Oops. Looks like, yeah. Let me grab the whole thing. Okay, I got to go to face mode. Yeah, you just, perspective viewports for organic, and you really want to use the power of the 4 viewport mode when you're doing architecture. You want to think and build like an architect. You want to see that top side perspective view, like whatever makes it easier for you to see what you're doing. So that should work. Now we could do some more milling around the detail, but for now, just don't even bother. You don't even need 4 panes. You could just make a single. That would work as well. So let's finish this off though. So let's go down to the corner for snapping purposes. So for this one, we could snap it on the bottom center, but I'm going to continue with snapping it over here on the inside corner or outside corner, however you want to think about that. And then if we shift drag, it pulls it out, and then we have both of them. And then if we hold down shift and drag again, you see it's dragging and snapping at the same time, which is pretty cool. Except that Maya likes to redo, oh shit, I just extruded. I did not mean to do that. It's because I'm in, I was in component mode. That's why. Well, my mistake. So make sure you're in object mode to do that. D and V, snap. Now if I do the shift drag, now it's cloning it. There it goes. That's what I wanted. Boo boo. Not the kind of boo boo you want. Hold down shift again. Clone. You see it says clone. Yeah, I saw the word extrude pop up, so that should have been a red flag right away. So there's our window with the frame. So we can call these window pane _01, and we can highlight the part, speed that up a little bit, and then window pane, and then add 0. So then I just add the 2, enter, double click, Control V, 3, enter, and window pane 04, enter. There we go. So the 4 window panes, we have the window itself, 4-pane, and maybe that should say frame, but so good. We're going to grab these 4 and we're going to middle mouse drag them into, so that is a parent. And there we go. And you can still grab the individual panes if you want, and you can grab the frame by itself, which will, since the other ones are parents, they're not selected, but if you have that one selected, you can group it as well. But that should work out pretty well. And then that can go into the interior, so we can middle mouse drag the window into the interior and kind of organize our scene. Let me turn that off. So now if we grab this window pane, and there's our little wall piece over there, we can go to the rotate tool and hold down J, and we can rotate the whole thing. And that should snap very nicely. And then we can go back to the side view here and go to move, and we can snap it right into place, into our wall. There we go. And of course, needs to be put in there in the side view as well, right? So snap right on over. There we go. And voila, you have perfectly fitted door, window, with the frame, door with the frame that can rotate. And these ones you can, if you wanted to, we could do another frame on that. These could actually open individually. Like, I mean, that doesn't make sense, but if we had a latch or something on there. And then for the last part here, we'll do the table and the chairs. How are we doing here? Oh, did a whole hour. Wow, unexpected. All right, so we'll go to the channel layer here. And looks like I have the furniture here, ceilings hidden. There's our interior parts. So you just need one corner to start with. So we have a solid wall still over here. We have these ones here. So you have the diagonal extrusion, the bridge cutout for the window. We just did we cut in the edges here, put them, aligned them with the door frame, and then extruded down for the bottom. So there is a bottom. It's all sealed up very nicely. So we'll take walls, floor, and we'll put them into a new layer, and we'll call this walls and floors. And give it a color. Why not? There we go. Click off that, and that way you can kind of make that out a little bit better. You can put the grid options back to where they were. So we'll go back down to just 10 per 100. There we go. A little bit easier on the eyes. Apply and close. And for all of these pieces here, we can put that on reference, so that way we can't click on them. And might as well put the windows and the doors and the frame in there. So right click, add selected objects to it. You can hide and unhide the whole thing. And now you can't click on any of them on accident. So these the interior parts. Yeah, these are our main interior parts. Furniture, because I had the doors bases on furniture, so I can grab these two and right click, remove selected from, so that they don't disappear anymore. But yeah, let's do some furniture real quick. So let's do a table and chairs, and we'll do that in the next video.